Hi everybody, video 5 now of our topic of solving quadratics. We're going to think about completing the square when the coefficient of x squared is not 1. So I've got 4 examples that I'm going to go through with you. The principles of completing the square are exactly the same, so you need to go back and watch video 4 if you are still a little bit unsure. This definitely is at the top end of higher, but definitely worth a watch as it is something we've done before and it will make your life a little bit easier. So I'm going to go through the first example really slowly and gradually pick the pace up. If at any point you feel like you need some help, please do send me an email. Okay, so just like when we complete the square when the coefficient is 1, I'm going to ignore that 1, that negative 1 that's at the end. Okay, and I'm just going to focus on this here. So the whole way throughout my working out, I'm going to keep that negative 1 on the side, but I'm going to ignore it for now. Okay, the first thing that I want to do is I want to look at this and think about, could I make that any simpler? And I can make it simpler by factorising a 3 out. If you look there, there is a factor of 3 in common. So I'm going to put a 3 at the front. I'm going to do a square bracket this time. The reason I'm going to do a square bracket is you'll see that there's going to be 2 sets of brackets next to each other in a minute, and it's quite confusing if you use curved brackets both ways. X squared minus 4x, close my square bracket. So again, I ignored that negative 1, just wrote it down at the side there to remind myself that it's still there, but I'm not going to use it just yet. So I looked at this expression, 3x squared minus 12x, and I spotted that I could take a factor of 3 to the front. I'm then going to complete the square just on what's inside those square brackets. So I'm going to, again, ignore certain parts of what I can see, and I'm just going to complete the square on what I can see there. So the 3 is now there but being ignored, and I've still got that minus 1 at the end. So I want to complete the square just on that x squared minus 4x. So just as I normally would, x squared minus 4x would be x minus 2 squared, take away 4. So now I need to bring in all the things that I was previously ignoring. So I've got a 3 that's multiplying everything that I can see here, and I've still got that subtract 1 at the beginning. So I need to do 3 lots of this, 3 lots of this, and then I've still got that minus 1. That gives me 3 lots of x minus 2 squared minus 13. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one here. I'm going to ignore that plus 2. And I'm going to factorise a 2 with a square bracket, x squared plus 6x, square bracket, and that plus 2 that I'm ignoring at the end. So I've just factorised the 2 out of this. That is the same as that. Then I need to try and complete the square just on what's inside the square bracket. So I've still got that 2 at the front and the 2 at the end left alone. X plus 3 squared, take away 9. Then I've got 2 lots of that, which is 2 lots of x plus 3 squared, take away 9. Oh, 18, sorry, because it's 2 times that and 2 times that, and then I have a plus 2. Overall, that gives me 2 lots of x plus 3 squared minus 16. Example 3, ignoring that plus 25, I'm going to just complete the square on this bit first. 5 lots of square bracket, x squared plus 2x plus the 25. Complete the square on what's inside the bracket, x plus 1 squared minus 1 plus the 25. 5 lots of x plus 1 squared minus 5, because it's 5 times this and 5 times that, plus the 25 gives me 5 lots of x plus 1 squared plus 20. Final one, just focusing on this bit, ignoring that minus 7. I've got 4 lots of x squared plus 3x in a square bracket. Complete the square, x plus 3 over 2 squared minus 9 over 4 minus the 7, not a very nice one this one. Multiply it out, 4 lots of x plus 3 over 2 squared minus 9, because 4 lots of 9 over 4 is 9, minus the 7. X plus 3 over 2 squared minus 16. 4 questions for you to have a go at. Please pause the video and answer them. Okay, answers are now there. If you want to check them, my working out has gone step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So the ones with the pink underline are your final answers. Okay, now we need to tie it all together and have a go at solving by completing the square. So skills that we have already. We can factorise and solve. We can use the quadratic formula to solve. And now we're going to have a go at completing the square to solve. Okay, I'm going to come back to this example and do it in full. But first I want to have a go at this. So I've got it in completed square form and I've got it equals to 0, so I know it can be solved. Okay, I'm going to do my stages of working out as I would do them. And I'm going to do it by rearranging. So first thing I'm going to do is add 4 onto both sides. Here I'm left with x minus 2 squared is equal to 4. Then I've got x minus 2 all being squared, so the next thing I need to do is square root. I need to remember that when I square root a number, I get the positive and the negative answer. So when I square root this, I just get x minus 2, and when I square root that, I get positive and negative 2. Then I'm going to add 2 onto both sides. So that gives me x is equal to 2, add or minus 2. So if I do the positive version, it's 4. Or if I do the negative version, 2 take away 2 is 0. Okay, have a go at those 3 by pausing the video, and I will do the steps of working out very soon. Okay, the answers are now there. So the first one should have been the same steps as we did before. You should have got negative 3 and negative 9. This one you should have got 7 or negative 1. This one was more tricky because when I got to this stage it wasn't a number I could square root. However, I just leave it in the surd form, in the square root form. And then when I add 2 I write it out in full like this, and then I just type them into my calculator as I would normally. Okay, I'm going to go through 3 full worked examples where you will solve by completing the square. Please make sure you're writing these down in full. So first thing I'm going to do is complete the square. So I'm going to do x minus 3 squared. I have to subtract the 9, and then I've got to take away the 2. That gives me x minus 3 squared, take away 11 equals 0. I'm going to start to rearrange it by adding 11 onto both sides. I'm then going to square root, remembering that there's 2 versions, positive and negative, and then I'm going to add the 3. Okay, I'm going to type both of those into my calculator. 3 plus root 11, 6.32. And then I'm going to do the arrows to get my second version, negative 0.317. I'll do the second example now. Again, I'm going to complete the square first of all, as we did in the previous video. Simplify it. Then I'm going to start, so I'm going to add 3 onto both sides. Then I'm going to square root, remembering that there's a positive and negative version of both. Then I'm going to take away the 2. Okay, then I'm going to type them into my calculator. So first one, negative 2 plus root 3. That's an 8 there. Or the negative version, which is negative 3.73. Okay, I'm doing all of these 3 significant figures. A slightly more tricky version where the number can't be halved in the middle, don't forget we could put it as fractions. X plus 11 over 2 squared minus 121 over 4 plus 5. Okay, I'm going to simplify that. X plus 11 over 2 squared minus, so I've got 121 over 4 plus 20 over 4. 5 is the same as 20 over 4. That gives me, if I'm at negative 121, add 20, it's minus 101 over 4. Start rearranging. Square root. I'm going to just move over here just so I don't run out of space. And I'm going to take away the 11 over 2. And I'm going to type them both into my calculator. So x is either negative 11 over 2 plus the square root of 101 over 4, which is minus 0.475, or x x is the other version, the negative one, which is minus 10.5. They're my two answers. Okay, 10 questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video now and have a go, please. Okay, if you could check your answers, I've written the full answer out, so negative 2 plus root 7 and negative 2 minus root 7, just so you can type it into a calculator and check, because you might have done it rounded to a different number of decimal places. If you've got any questions, please email me.